first edition of the Mike Fuller Coaches Show for 2015. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
How was your summer?
It's good. Short.
They always are. They always are. The season is upon us.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about just what you did personally this summer.
There wasn't much personal this summer. We did take a short family vacation. We got out of town for about a week, but most of the summer was spent just like the players, Monday through Thursday working out and running and lifting. Not me, but the kids running and lifting, getting ready for the season, and coaches preparing things and just getting a good game plan together. But it is nice in the summer to kind of rejuvenate and rest. We don't work as long hours in the summer, so it's kind of nice. We get some weekends off, but it was a good one.
Well, I'm going to ask you a little bit about the summer and some of the things that y'all did,
Okay.
and 7-on-7, that kind of stuff. Before I got there, I wanted to ask you a little bit about some of the sports that we don't get a chance to talk about just because of the timing of our show. Some of the sports that are at Decatur High School that deserve some time and deserve to be spoken about that happen in the spring.
Right.
Baseball, softball, track, and anything else. Speak to those,
Well,
how they did in the spring.
We had a really good spring, a good year overall in our athletic program. I think when we ended, it was probably the start of basketball season. We had a district championship with our girls basketball team. Our boys did well, and we won a couple playoff games. And then in the spring, our softball team won a district championship, which was awesome. Baseball team won a district championship, and in a warm-up game played the number one team in the state and beat them. So there's some really good things to look forward to because almost everybody's back from that team. Boys and girls track both did really well. And we sent a lot of kids to regionals, did well at district. So it was a good spring, and we're excited for another year of Decatur athletics.
Well, I know that they all did well, and we're going to try to have some of those kids on in later show episodes and let them talk about their seasons as well. Now, as far as the summer for the football program, I know that we had, the Eagle Maker program that went on through the summer. That was a conditioning program, and we had a little bit of fun down in College Station for the 7-on-7 state tournament. So just tell people a little bit about what the Eagle Maker program is and how hard the kids worked, and then kind of how we did at 7-on-7.
Well, the Eagle Maker is one of my favorite things of the summer. It's exactly what it sounds like. We try to make our Eagles into athletes, and we take everybody who's willing to do it, every 7th grader through 12th grader, boys and girls, Monday through Thursday for 2 hours, 8 to 10, and we get stronger in the weight room, we get faster out on the field, we work on speed and agility and quickness and flexibility and all the things that deal with athleticism, and it's pretty special, I think, to have a big senior football player who's got a lot of experience working next to a incoming 7th grader who's a little bit nervous. Maybe it's a boy or a girl, whatever, but they're all out there and they're Eagles and working together. So that was good and a positive experience. We had a lot of kids there this summer. And then of course 7-on-7. We went to several tournaments and we had a great coach taking them down to College Station for the state tournament.
More like a chaperone,
right.
Really.
But I think it's a good experience for the kids because they get to go down there and they get some great gear and the camaraderie that comes with it, and they really improved a lot from if anybody happened to see the first time we did any 7-on-7 this spring, it was pretty ugly, and by the time the summer ended, we were much better, and that carries over, and so it's a big process to get a football team ready to play, and there's a lot of things that have to take place before football season to make it a success, and I think these kids have done what they need to do to put themselves in a position to be good.
Well, that's awesome, and it was fun. It was fun for me too. I appreciate you guys allowing me to do that. But we were talking just before we started this broadcast that everybody waits and can't wait for the season to start. It seems like the season is so far away, and all of a sudden, the season has begun. We've had 2 scrimmages and 1 regular game, and it seems like the season has taken off like a rocket. So let you talk first to just a little bit about who we scrimmaged in the first 2 scrimmages, how we did, and then of course, we'll talk about the game last Friday night against Springtown.
Well, like you said, everybody looks forward to it. We start as soon as the season is over. It was over last year. We kind of met and talked about August 3rd. It needs to be the day we got to be ready. We know when our first game is, and it's a grind. It's hard. 2 days is tough. There's nothing easy about it for the kids or coaches or anybody, but it's something that has to be done. The kids have really did a good job, and both of our scrimmages were really good tests. Kennedale's a really good football team with a lot of talent, and they run something completely opposite of us. So it's a completely different style of football, which you're going to see from time to time. But it's a good test for us right off the bat. We barely know our own stuff at that point, and we go against a really good football team over there, and we held our own, did okay. Same thing at Princeton, but those are just that. The practices with another team. You don't put too much stock into how many touchdowns either team scores or anything like that, because it's not really a game. It's just a practice getting ready for the year.
Well, Springtown came to town last Friday, and they left town with a loss, but it wasn't an easy one.
No.
We had to play from behind most of the first half and probably most of the third quarter. So just kind of talk a little bit about the flow of the game, and we got off to a little bit slow of a start. Just speak to that a little bit, how we recovered.
Well, speaking of Springtown, first of all, last year was our first game. Just like this year, we went to Springtown, got off to a big lead, and then by the time it was over, we got beat pretty bad and didn't compete very well, I didn't think, in the second half. This year was a completely different story. We started off, we weren't horrible at first. We just weren't consistent. But if you look at it, we had a sophomore starting at center. We had a freshman starting at left tackle. We counted up eight guys on both sides of the ball who really had never had any significant playing time on Friday night. Most of them the first time ever. So early season, first game jitters are to be expected there. We made some mistakes and had some bad breaks, but what I like the most is that we just kept fighting, and that's what we talk about all the time. The next play is the most important one in football. They never really got down, never panicked. We had some really bad breaks, unlucky things that happened to us, but we just kept playing the next play, and before we knew it, you looked up and we were winning.
Yeah, we had if I remember right, there was a couple of odd plays. We fumbled the ball and fell right into their hands, and they scored on that play. And then there was another play where we readied it, have an interception,
Right.
tipped up, and a guy took it about 40 more yards for a score. So we gave him a few points, and Luck gave him a few points. But well, speaking to Coach about us kind of having to play from behind, just me watching the game from the first half to the second half, almost in reverse order of how it happened last season. It's two different teams almost.
Right.
And so what do you attribute that to? Did y'all make adjustments in the locker room? Was it a great, fabulous speech by you? Was what was the coach contribution in all that?
Well, I think like you said, it was a completely different game, first and second half. We did some really good things in the first half. Now, to talk about Springtown a little bit, they've got some of the biggest kids at skill positions that I've seen. They've got a really big quarterback and a giant tight end that's 6'6" and 250 and runs well, which creates some matchup problems for us. That's when you want to have safeties that are 6'2" or 6'3" if you could. But we knew that they would make some plays. We were a little bit nervous, I think. We knew we had some matchup problems going into the game, and we knew that they would make some plays. I will say this: their number 12 was phenomenal. Their quarterback did a really good job of getting the ball to him. 25, in the time that I've been in Decatur, maybe the best receiver that we've faced. So they made some plays, and we knew they would. And we made some plays. We made some plays even in the first half. We came up short a couple times on having a lead. And it was kind of bad luck that we weren't winning at halftime. We came in at halftime. I think everybody just kind of calmed down, and the only thing I really said was, you're not a rookie anymore. You got a half of Friday Night Football under your belt, and let's go out there and play a good half. And we looked at what we had done and what we thought we could do the best. Defensively, we didn't really make many adjustments scheme-wise. We simplified a little bit and just told our guys to be a little bit more aggressive playing the ball. And offensively, we we did make a change. We used two quarterbacks in the second half. Tyler did a good job. Jake did a great job coming in and hitting Moses on a big trick play at about the right time when we had just gone down 10. But I think the biggest thing is they just took the thing that we talk about. In fact, it's written on our wristband: next play. It's the most important play in football, and that's the attitude that they had. And I think the more the game went on, the more confidence they had, and it showed.
Well, and I think that we'd be remiss not to mention the rush defense. I mean, I don't know what the specific statistics are, but they just got nowhere on the ground. And I remember specifically a fourth down play, I don't know when it was in the game, that they went for and we just stuffed them.
Right. I think that might have been the biggest play in the game. You know, we stopped them on third and about 6 inches. Their coach had asked for a measurement. He wanted to measure, get a measurement. The official knew that the chain was on the line. He didn't grant it to them. I think they got a little bit out of sorts. Their coaching staff was mad. Their kids were not, feeling like they had gotten a raw deal. But I think that whole time while that was taking place, our guys were just gearing up for stopping them from getting that inch, and there wasn't any place for them to go. All of our defensive line got good penetration. Our linebackers, everybody was there and made the play, and that was probably the biggest play of the game because we had the lead, and they were about to take it back if they got that first down. But that was a huge stop, and we held them to, I think, 50 yards total rushing. We did give up some big plays, but some of those were kind of lucky bounces.
Well, Coach, as you know, tonight we're here at Sean's Pit Barbecue in Decatur. They're the sponsor, and they provide the game meals for the varsity, and we really do appreciate it. And we're going to be here pretty much every Sunday night, give or take, maybe a scheduling conflict or two, but everyone's welcome to come out and join us when we tape the show. But right now we're going to be talking to Tyler Tickner and Peyton McAllister, players of the game against Springtown. Here we are with two players of the game, Peyton McAllister, number 13, Tyler Tickner, number 2. Peyton, I'll start with you. Just going over your stats a little bit, 17 rushes, 201 yards, 6 receptions for 90 yards. That's 291 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, leading up to that performance, you weren't even really sure you were going to play, were you?
No.
You had a problem from a previous scrimmage. Talk a little bit about that. What were you feeling like?
I was hurting to breathe. I had some ribs out of place, and went to the doctor and got them popped back in. I wasn't sure if I was going to be ready by Friday.
When did you finally find out that you were going to get to play?
Wednesday afternoon.
And so, even when you suited up, was there a little bit? You hadn't been hitting.
No, I was very, very scared going into the game to see how it was going to happen, and it didn't hurt at all.
Did you have one hit during the game that just kind of made you feel comfortable? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm ready to go.
Right from the start, I had a run that I just felt good.
Excellent. Well, let me know. Was there one play in particular? If you had to pick out one play that was the most fun, the best play that you had, which one would it have been? Which one of your 4 touchdowns would that have been?
The long run, the 50-yard run.
Walk me through it a little bit. What play was it?
It was zone left, and the line did a really good job. The hole was gaping, and I went and I had to make a move on a safety that came up, and I moved outside and had to beat a guy to the end zone. I didn't know if I was going to get caught or not, and I made it to the end zone.
Good. Well, let's talk to your friend on the far end of the table, number 2, Tyler Tickner. We'll call you the utility man, Mr. Versatile. Tyler played 3 positions: quarterback, running back, and outside linebacker. Passing, he was 5 of 6. Rushing, he was 13 carries for 52 yards. Receiving, he had one big one for 71 yards and took it to the house. 2 touchdowns in total. On defense, several tackles. How in the world do you remember and know what you're supposed to do playing all those different positions?
Well, it gets pretty difficult at times, especially on offense, being quarterback and running back. But a lot of times, knowing the plays at quarterback helps me know what to do when I'm playing running back, or vice versa. And then I'm usually able to keep defense and offense separated pretty easily, and just have to study and learn the plays and understand each side.
Well, you're doing a great job. I'll ask both of you guys. It seemed like that when we came out in the third quarter, we were behind. We'd made a few scores and had caught up in the first half, but we came out in the third quarter. Y'all just looked like you had a different mentality. Did y'all feel that yourself?
Yes.
What do you attribute that to?
I personally felt like someone had to make plays, and I felt like in the first half no one was really making plays. It was kind of no one really wanted to win that bad, and I think we changed in the second half.
Excellent.
I came out knowing that I was going to be starting quarterback that half, and I was just going to have to take control of the game and try to do something about winning the game.
Great job, guys. I appreciate y'all coming up here. Peyton McAllister, Tyler Tickner. Well, Coach, before we start talking about next week, it's your favorite time.
All right.
It's time for the Around the Town question for Coach Fuller.
Hi, I'm Blake Cobb. I'm a senior at Decatur High School. I was wondering, Coach Fuller, what did you think of the crowd this Friday night at the football game?
Well, Blake, I'm glad you asked that question because I was talking to the coaching staff today actually about how that since I've been here in Decatur, I think that's the best crowd that we've seen. There were people there. It was packed. They were loud, making a lot of noise. Anytime there was an official's call that they didn't agree with, they let everybody know. They were cheering on the kids, and that really makes a big difference. It's great to see the town come out and support the team like that. It makes a big difference for the players knowing that their classmates and their families and just everybody in town wants to see them do well. So that crowd was great. I hope it keeps up. Everything about it was a great atmosphere for Friday Night Football. So thank you for your question, Blake.
Well, Coach, this coming week we've got the Dale Hansen Classic down in Waxahachie against the Alvarado Indians.
Yes.
They had a tough time this past week. Got beat pretty good, 56-3 or 6. But they played a pretty stout team, from what I understand.
They did. And in football, it really doesn't matter what's happened in the past. Whether we won last week or didn't. If you look back to last year, we had a pretty good season and a really good team, and we lost the first game of the year, and it wasn't that close. They lost last year to Waco La Vega. They did the same thing this year, but Waco La Vega is a tremendously talented team with a lot of Division I athletes. I think Alvarado, from looking at them on film, I think they're even better than last year, and they were pretty good last year. They're physical. They're big up front. They're a power type football team. They've got a great back, and they do a good job of mixing in play action passes and sprint outs and not just giving it to him every time, but they're good. They're going to be a great test for us. And going to Waxahachie on the turf on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock in September, first week of September.
Don't bring your jacket.
Don't bring a jacket. I think one of the keys for this game is going to be conditioning and our depth. We had a few guys that are key members of our team and vitally important to our success that didn't get very much playing time the other night. And it's going to be important that those guys are ready to go this week because thinking back to last year, it was so hot. It's probably going to be about 130, 135 degrees on the turf at kickoff. So taking care of their bodies during the week will be important, and being able to rest a little bit and somebody playing both sides of the ball is not going to be able to play every single down on both sides of the ball on a day like this. So we're excited about it. We've got a great opponent, and we're hoping to improve on last week. We don't by any stretch of the imagination think it was a perfect game or that we've arrived. We've got a long way to go, and it's a process. So we're trying to keep getting better, and we're excited about this game.
Well, I know Alvarado was ranked highly in the preseason polls, and I don't think they're a blemish on their record to Waco La Vega is any indication that they're not what everybody thought they were. And I'm sure, coming off of a loss like that, they're going to be hungry for Decatur.
Right.
So, coming off of the game where you have a win at home and facing a very, very good team who, for lack of a better way, just took it on the chin. How do you make sure your guys are prepared for the intensity that they're about to face?
Well, we're not gonna let them forget that last week's in the past. Whether we had won or lost, last week is in the past, and we're working on this one. Thinking back in my career, some of the worst losses that my teams have ever suffered were followed up by some of the best games we've ever played. So Football players are proud. Football coaching staffs are proud. They're a great program over there with a lot of wins, and I know that they'll be ready to play. We also feel like we're Decatur, and a lot of people have a lot of history with Decatur, so we feel like we pretty much get everybody's best game every time we step on the field. So that's our mindset. They're going to play great, and we're going to have to be great to beat them.
Well, I know you'll be ready. Well, Coach, it looks like that is a wrap for week 1 of your show. Remember, Eagle fans, 3 p.m. this Saturday in the heat. Come on out, bring your umbrella, don't bring a jacket. 3 p.m. Lumpkin Stadium in Waxahachie, your Decatur Eagles facing the Alvarado Indians, and we are looking for a strong effort. And remember, Eagle fight
Never dies.
Thanks for watching.
It. So we're getting up and going down. I know, looking right to left, if you see us coming, I think it's best to move away. Do you hear what I say from under my breath? Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak somewhere in the town. Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak, so don't you be around. Busted out dead or alive. I can hear the hound dogs on my trail. All hell breaks loose, alarm and sirens wail. Like a game, if you lose, go to jail. Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak somewhere in the town. Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak, so don't you be around. No one could for long. Searchlight on my trail. Tonight's the night all systems fail.